Hey guys, it's Ryan with Big Dog Investing. Thank you guys for tuning into my channel. If you guys could do a couple of things for me, if you guys can go ahead and like, comment, subscribe to my channel if you guys have not done so already. Click the bell notification down below so YouTube can send you guys notifications whenever I release videos. Watch my videos all the way to the end. And if you guys could share my videos and share my channel with anyone. I'm trying to grow my channel as much as I can, and I definitely need your guys' help in doing so. Getting started today is going to be Tuesday, January 31st. So we're ending off January with a nice green day today. Obviously, it's not by much. We're only up 1.08%, but overall, still a positive day, and it's a good way to end the month. We're also still above the $1 trillion market cap at $1,051 billion. First, I wanted to say thank you guys for tuning in every single day. When I started this channel, I didn't think in the first month I'd get 70 subscribers. I realistically thought we were going to be at 20 to 25, and I didn't see us getting to 100 until the first 6 months. I released a video about 4 or 5 days ago saying that it'd be kind of cool to get 100 subscribers by the end of January. But at the end of the day, I'm happy with where we're at. And if in the next 5 months we only get 30 new subscribers, I'll still be happy. And I'd be happy if you guys, your U70 just stick around, for the next, few years. Obviously, I hope my channel grows, but I'm happy and I appreciate you guys. I wanted to say that. Getting started with our daily market update. We already talked about the market cap and the percent increase. Bitcoin right now is currently trading at $23,113. Ethereum is trading at $1,580, and XRP is trading at 40.16 cents. So overall, the market's kind of stagnant for your major coins, but we did see some price increases in our smaller capped coins. Getting into our crypto bubbles, the biggest gainers on the day are going to be DYDX up 26.8%, MV and T, which is Threshold, and Metaverse are going to be up 21.3%. Overall, the majority of coins are going to be green. We have a couple that are in the red, but overall still a green day. These three coins in the green for our biggest gainers are kind of new into the top 100, so a lot of people are still reading about them. I don't know a whole lot about them, other than they're brand new to the top 100, and in my opinion, that's part of the reason why they're getting the price increase, because a lot of people, are seeing these new coins and like, what are these about? Why are they entering the top 100? So do your guys' own research, invest at your guys' own risk. If a coin's up 20 something percent in a day, in my personal opinion, again, I'm not a financial advisor, I would recommend waiting until, these prices start to drop a little bit. So DYDX was at $2.35 at the beginning of today, and it's now at $3.27 or $3.06, but it reached an all-time high today of $3.27. So if this coin drops to about 250, maybe that might be a good time to dollar cost average into the market if you're, bought in at the higher price, or you guys could buy in at a lower price around the 250 mark and then hopes it goes up. But again, invest at your guys' own risk. Getting into our biggest gainers of the month, since we did end January, APT is going to be our biggest gainer on the month, up 373%. Again, the majority are all coins except for Flare token, which the only reason why, in my opinion, this is down was because people received these free tokens due to an XRP snapshot a few years ago, and they received these free tokens and they sold them. They wanted the money. So that's the only reason why I see Flare down this month. In the near term, I do see Flare in the green. But I still have yet to receive my Flare tokens from the XRP snapshot, so I'm hoping that Coinbase releases those soon, but only time's going to tell. But if you guys invested in cryptocurrency in the top 100, you guys are up. Some coins might have been down, but in the top 100, every coin except for Flare is up. So if you guys invested $100 into APT, you're going to have roughly $473 after some fees for the trade. But you guys are essentially going to be up $373, so that's good. Obviously, not every coin performed this well. But overall, if you guys did invest in the first month of January, you were up in the markets. I see a nice month for February as well. But make sure you guys only invest, in my opinion, what you guys are willing to lose into a market. And do your guys' own research. I can tell you guys all of this stuff, but at the end of the day, you guys are responsible for your guys' own investments. So do your due diligence and invest at your guys' own risk. Getting into some news, I know I said we were going to talk about a person every single day on my channel that does positive. We're going to continue with Mr. Beast because he got a lot of hate. So world's top YouTuber enrages internet by paying for 1,000 people's eye surgeries. a lot of people considered this charity porn. So basically, a lot of people were against this, and came out and said, "Why are you, showcasing yourself? Obviously, you're just doing this for likes and attention." And in my opinion, who cares? Who cares why he's doing it? 1,000 people are able to see because of this. So in my opinion, good on you, Mr. Beast. I saw this, comment from D Written, and I kind of liked it. It says, without a question, Mr. Beast has done some good works here. His critics would rather he literally leave people blind when he could save them. It makes me wonder why. What do people gain from leaving the poor to be blind and suffer? And in my opinion, that's totally 100% true. So, Mr. Beast, keep it up. Obviously, you want to see recognition, you want new subscribers, you want to bring people to your channel. That's how you make money. And if you're paying for 1,000 people, those 1,000 people can now see. So, thank you. Keep up the good work. Getting into another controversial topic right here. We have two coming up. Biden supporter Stephen Curry moves to block low income housing near his $30 million mansion. And this is why it's controversial. It's because we have, a lot of these athletes and everything else, speaking out. And, obviously, Steph Curry, I think he's, a great guy, but this is just a bad look on him. He's done a lot of good. So I'm not going to, hold anything against him in the long run for this, but in my opinion, this was a bad look. These people can't barely afford housing, and now basically there's a spot that opened up next to his house, and now he's saying, "No, I don't want this here." Him and his wife released a statement or a letter to officials. So they basically came out and says, "We hesitate to add to the not in our backyard rhetoric, but we want to send a note before today's meeting. Safety and privacy for us and our kids continues to be a top priority and one of the biggest reasons we chose Arthron." And again, if you guys are in California, you might know how to pronounce that. I don't, but as home. Steph and his wife, Alicia Curry, wrote in a letter. So, in my opinion, this was kind of a bad look. Obviously, safety and priority are the biggest issues for the majority of people and their families. And, he definitely doesn't want people just peeping into his backyard. And, basically said that if you guys can't block this low income housing project, maybe invest in a bigger wall or some nice, like lawns, bigger bushes, some trees, basically so that people can't view his kids and stuff playing in the backyard. And I completely agree with that. People shouldn't be able to, snoop into other people's backyards. And should have some privacy. I know that, celebrities get hounded with pictures and stuff. And a lot of people say, well, it's because they're famous. They should, they get paid for this. They deserve whatever they get. And in my opinion, that's wrong. He has every right when he's not in season. If he's going out with his family, don't take photos of him. Don't, bum rush him while he's sitting down eating at a restaurant. If he's out in public and he starts waving around to fans and stuff like that, that's a little bit different. He's trying to say, you know what, you guys can approach me. But if he's just out with his family enjoying his time, he's a person too. And again, I like him. This is just a really bad look, and I wanted to share it because, at the end of the day, these elites, these, rich and powerful saying, "Do as I say, but not as I do," because he wouldn't care if it was, he might, but these low income housing projects are next to your guys' house because it has to get built somewhere. And this is another controversial topic. House ignores White House objections, votes to end COVID health emergency. And in my opinion, I talked about this yesterday. The White House came out and released a statement saying that on May 11th, the national COVID emergencies were going to end. But I did some more digging into this, and what I found out was Republicans in the House were planning on voting on this today anyway. And news kind of broke about that. So the White House released a statement saying that, hey, we're going to do this first. This is the date that we're planning on doing it. So no need to cast your guys' vote. And basically, it seems like, Democrats wanted basically to be recognized and be the ones to end this. And Republicans in the House were like, nah, sorry, we were planning on doing this to begin with. You guys have had all of this time to do this, but it wasn't until we took control of the House and we're planning to vote against this that now you guys release a statement. So, House Republicans should definitely get recognition for this one. Um, and it's controversial, I know, but at the end of the day, people need to get back to work. Um, us individuals, I was working at a hospital during COVID, and I'm also a high school teacher. At the end of the day, a lot of us were still working, and our taxpayer dollars, we were getting taxed for all of this money while we're working. And individuals who were getting unemployment and the extra benefits for COVID-19 were getting income, and some of it was tax-free income. So I was getting paid less than some of my friends who ended up staying at home and doing absolutely nothing. I was getting paid less to go work at a hospital working with COVID patients. So This is good for House Republicans, and seven Democrats voted against this as well, or with Republicans, not against their own party lines, with the House Republicans winning in a 227 to 203 vote to end this. Obviously, it's still got to take a couple more steps for it to get officially approved, but this was a good look. Congrats for House Republicans. Getting into some more news, we talked about the Pelosi Act, and how basically members of the House and Senate, basically people in Congress, them and their significant others cannot own certain own all stocks or even possibly cryptocurrencies. And in my opinion, they shouldn't have family members working for them. So Maxine Waters paid daughter $192,000 in campaign funds during the 2022 cycle. This is kind of a lot of money to pay, a family member. What do they do? What are their qualifications? I don't know specifically for her daughter, but in my opinion, $192,000 for 1 year's worth of work is kind of a lot of money. Is she bachelor's degree, master's, doctorate degree? What basically, what did she do for the election? What did she bring to the table? How did she really help with this election? Those are all really good questions that need to be asked, because we have first responders, and I'm a high school teacher. We don't get paid $192,000 for the work that we do. Um, so hopefully we can get this, and Congress can get this stuff passed too, where they should be able to limit the amount of money that they pay friends and family in their election campaigns, or basically say that family members aren't allowed to work with you whatsoever. Getting into some more news, we talked about recent layoffs. PayPal plans to lay off 2,000 employees, or 7% of their workforce. Again, these are more people just going to hit unemployment. So, we might be in a recession, but there's also talks that we're not going to be in a recession. Intel cuts pay for employees by at least 5%, VPs 10%, more senior executives get a 15% pay cut, and CEO gets a 25% haircut. So, in my opinion, the CEO one is the biggest one that has the red flag, because a lot of CEOs take a small base salary, and then depending on the profits of the company, they take a nice bonus check at the end of the year. So until they cut that bonus check, I don't believe any of this right here. Getting into our Watcher Guru news, Eurozone quarter 4 GDP rises by 0.1%. So the GDP, gross domestic product, ended up going up by 0.1%. Any green for domestic product, or interest rates or stuff like that, it's a good look. So I'm happy about this. Wish it was higher, but at the end of the day, anything that's beneficial is good news right now. German bank Deca Bank to offer Bitcoin and other cryptos to over 1.5 million clients. In my opinion, this is really good for cryptocurrency, and I don't want 1.5 million individuals being forced into the market. So it's nice that they're having the ability to enter Bitcoin and crypto. But if they choose not to, that's totally okay. I tell you guys to invest at your guys' own risk. If you guys don't want to invest in stocks or crypto, don't. There's, safer options out there. They might not have as much upside money wise later on in the future, but you guys can still, make money in leaving your money in the bank, or putting it into a CD, or putting it into your S&P 500 companies. But those still come with risks too. Talk about the 2008 financial crisis, where people lost their livelihoods investing into the market, and their 401ks, and also into the S&P 500 companies. So it's nice that they have the ability to, and this is definitely going to help the markets. New people are going to get in, new wallets will be created, and then obviously they're going to invest in a certain coins. Chat GPT creator OpenAI is reportedly training its AI technology to replace software engineers. Again, more people are going to be out of jobs. This is a bad look. We don't need artificial intelligence taking over. You guys can read this. I'm going to put a lot of these articles and stuff in the comments so you guys can read more if you guys want to. JP Morgan says the biggest risk to the market is no recession at all. And in my opinion, this is a terrible look for JP Morgan. So they basically say that the biggest risk to a market is no recession at all. So basically what they're saying is they want a recession. They want the people to hurt. They want the people to suffer. Why? Why does a big bank want this? Well, in my opinion, it's because if a big bank wants people to suffer, they're obviously going to have to take out debt to pay for some of this stuff. So they're going to take out loans. They're going to go into debt. And then what happens? These big banks reap off of the interest rates, screwing over the American people. And then also when that happens, stock markets and crypto will drop. these big banks will buy in. They'll be buying up people's houses when they can't afford them. Um, and then they'll sell them for profits. This is why the rich keep getting richer, is because of all this nonsense. Oh, excuse me. ChatGPT creator OpenAI also releases a tool to detect AI written text. And in my opinion, this is good. We need to know what's artificially intelligence, and then also what are humans actually doing? Because at the end of the day, I care about humans more than I care about artificial intelligence. And then the last thing that we're going to talk about for Watcher Guru, Jim Cramer says we're in a bull market and it's now time to buy the dip. Now, I don't always agree with Jim Cramer. The majority of the time, I'll probably say 99% of the time, I completely disagree. But in my opinion, I don't know if we're in a bull market yet, but always buy the dip. So again, invest at your guys' own risk, but buying the bottoms of things, if the price is up, 50% in a day, obviously people are going to take their profit. So the price of whatever asset you're buying is going to drop a little bit. You can't always time the bottom. So just buy when you guys think it's low and then just watch and wait. Obviously I bought low for some of my coins and I'm just waiting for them to take off. I'm not trying to day trade here. The majority of people who day trade lose their money. So I'm waiting for, stuff to go back up. If you guys can dollar cost average, if you guys got in low, or if you got in high, you can dollar cost average lower, bring down your initial entry level. So when that price officially rises, you guys can get your guys' profit sooner. This was kind of cool. Bill Morgan came out and asked John Deaton, says, just listening to your guys' summary of the Lbry hearing today, I was struck by the good hearing the judge gave you. Could you clarify, please, one thing? Did the judge indicate, number one, his ruling does not extend to the sales of the secondary market to investors? So these are the individuals who sold their tokens into the secondary market. So if I bought tokens off of Lbry themselves, that would be considered a security. That's what the SEC got ruled in favor for by the last judge. And basically now that I own those coins and I sell them to an exchange, so if I sell them to Coinbase or Binance or BitTrue, then you buy them up. That's a secondary sale. You bought the token off of a secondary market. So that's what he's meaning by that. And who did not buy them from Lbry? And then the tokens LBC is not a security, or three, both. Number one, if only that is not as good as 2 and 3, as it is about what his ruling doesn't extend to, not whether the token is a security, but is it still a good outcome? Great effort by you, with a thumbs up. So John Deaton went ahead and replied to this and said that the judge never said that it is like the token itself is not a security, but he certainly implied it and said Lbry never argued it. He said he is limited to what the parties place in front of him. He certainly implied it when he was speaking on the record. So he basically implied that the sale could not have been, maybe a security, but Lbry did not try to defend that itself. He made it crystal clear that his ruling did not apply to the secondary sales of LBC, which is the Lbry token. When you think about it, if the token itself was a security, then his ruling would apply to secondary sales because it would always be a security. The best thing that happened was this. He admitted he was frustrated with the SEC and pled with them to give clarity, but he said that they won't, and it's not his job to make the SEC policy and do the SEC's job. I responded that I was there not asking him to do the SEC's job and provide crypto clarity, but I was there pleading with him to provide clarity regarding his ruling because it was being interpreted as including secondary sales. He then said that he would make it very clear that his order does not include secondary sales. He then forced the SEC to agree that they weren't pushing for that. The judge gave an example to make it clear. He said Lbry sold directly to Flipside Crypto, who placed the LBC in a cold wallet. The judge said that his order covers that sale, but not when Flipside Crypto sells to someone thereafter. I argued how the underlying asset is never considered a security, and that isn't a single case in 76 years finding otherwise, and that Judge Castle in Telegram clarified that the gram was not the security. Hinman's speech states that the token itself is never the security, etc. At the end of the hearing, he summed up what he was going to do, and after he addressed the parties, he looked over to me and said, "And Amika," and or Amica, however you guys pronounce that. I will make it very clear that in my order does not cover secondary sales and that should satisfy you, or words to that effect. I stood up and said, Judge, if you could also consider adding language that the token itself is not the security, because even though it goes without saying, it would provide additional clarity, or words to that effect. He smiled at me and said he was a minimalist. Someone present sitting in the first row said that the judge did not say the record that the token was not a security. It's possible I missed it when I was writing something down, but I think it may be when he said Lbry never argued the token itself was not a security. The judge seems to agree regardless. It comes all down to how aggressive he wants to be. He made it clear that secondary sales were not being litigated by the SEC, and that is why he initially didn't address it in the first order. We will see in the next ruling when it comes out. So basically, he's saying that the company itself, when it sells its asset to somebody else, that can be considered a security because it could be considered an investment contract. And whether you agree or disagree, I'm going to say, like, I disagree with this because this is how people receive funding. And, there's certain ways to doing things. And if it's a currency or whatever, it definitely doesn't fall under the securities laws or under the Howey test. We'll talk about those in later videos. But this was really good to see, and I was glad John Deaton ended up coming out and saying this, and especially because the judge kind of knows who John Deaton is and kind of what he was getting at, because he was trying to talk about the XRP case. Well, it's the Ripple case versus the SEC. So sorry to take that out of context. It's the Ripple case versus the SEC, and that's what's been affecting the price suppression of the XRP token. Um, so right here, it says right here that Lewis Cohen says, y'all, I came this close to attending yesterday's Lbry hearing. In due course, and the hearing transcript should be public, but by all accounts, it looks like John Deaton did a great job of framing issues, and the judge did like what the judge should consider the law and have faith. So, this is great news. And John Deaton replied and says, basically pray to Lewis. We must protect secondary transactions. People can disagree with Ripple or Lbry offered / sold a token as a security directly, but we should all agree that the token itself is software code, not a security, and users in secondary transactions are part of the free market, which I completely agree. So I'm hoping this definitely comes down in the judge's ruling, because if the SEC wins this case against Ripple, obviously they sold a security in that case, but then the secondary sales. So if you guys own any XRP tokens, you did not buy those directly from Ripple itself, the company. So you technically don't own a security, you own a token or a digital asset. So it's going to be interesting to see. Lbry came out and said that the SEC read this tweet in court yesterday, and we stand by it 100%. So they said, we have not met a single honest or fair actor in the SEC. We have met numerous liars and psychopaths. Hide absolutely everything you can from them legally and never cooperate or talk to the SEC. So this was kind of interesting because John Deaton came out and said that the SEC made a big deal about this tweet. It was read into the record. The judge openly laughed out loud. He told the SEC to stop taking things so personal, and said that considering the blood, sweat, and tears that went into Lbry, he understood why they're angry. So, in my opinion, this is really nice to see that a judge is finally, interested and cares about the actual people and the companies and stuff that, help the markets. So the SEC is supposed to be there to help the average investor and basically stop, people from getting into uh, these terrible fraud cases and stuff like that. But in their own backyard, they met with Sam Bankman-Fried, which was the founder and CEO of FTX Exchange that went down. So obviously they're not doing their job there. So what makes them doing their job here any more clearer? So this is great news. Obviously, this judge seems to be protecting your average Joe. So this was kind of great news. I'm going to give Lbry a follow on this one. And then Jeremy Hogan, this is the last thing that we're going to talk about right here. He's the lawyer for he's a lawyer that basically talks about the Ripple versus the SEC case and kind of breaks it down into, simpler words so us average Joes can listen and understand the rulings, because they're worded pretty difficultly, and the text is written um, in lawyer talk, because it's an official document, and obviously for some reason they have to write ridiculously complicated sentences for everyone else that can't understand it, and that's why lawyers get paid the big bucks. So Jeremy Hogan came out and put in the comments, created a post and says, below is the LBC weekly chart up 100%, and Lbry completely lost the SEC lawsuit and is going into bankruptcy. What does this mean vis of vis XRP? So what does he mean this is going to happen with the XRP token? So right now, Lbry lost with the SEC, so it was a bad look. The token basically dropped drastically, and now that token now is up because of the recent hearing that just happened, and basically saying that the secondary sales are not considered securities. So in my opinion, XRP is trading at 40 cents right now. If the SEC loses in court, no matter what, right away off the first court hearing, that's going to be the best news and best use case, and basically help for your average Joe, and also for your big investors, for investor confidence into the token, because that'll finally have regulatory clarity in the market, at least for the XRP token. I can see like a $3 XRP if it wins outright. If it loses to the SEC like this, but then the secondary sales are considered a investment contract, or not an investment contract. They're considered a digital asset or a currency and not an investor contract. Then I can see that the price will go up kind of like this, where it might double, so maybe like 85, 90 cents. So we're hoping that the Ripple team actually gets a clear-cut win in the case, and I do see that happening here in the near future. Thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry, these videos are a little bit choppy. I don't know how to edit yet, so all these are just dry run throughs, 100% all the way through. So if I mess up, unfortunately, I don't know how to edit. So, if I get a little tongue tied, I appreciate you guys tuning in and bearing with me. Some of these people have extra time to go through and edit their videos. One, I don't know how to edit, and two, I don't have a lot of time. So thank you guys for tuning in. It was a good month in January. Let's see what February has in store. If you guys look up here, it just changed to February 1st. We're at 12:01. But thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate all of you guys. And if you guys can invest with the big dogs, stay on the porch. Have a good one.